Well, it's a meme. There's this meme. It's like an MRA meme talking about how, like, an asteroid hits the Earth, women most affected. Like, everything's always about women, even though it really affects everyone. But they just make the headline about how women are the most affected. So, I mean, this is from Bloomberg.com. This is literally a fucking meme. This is in the equality section. Japanese women face a future of poverty. A perfect storm of benefit cuts and outdated social structures is driving the nation's women, especially the elderly, towards financial ruin. They're talking about the collapse of the welfare state because they have no children, and thus they have no workers to pay the taxes. Now, they are turning to immigration, but at the end of the day...
Well, I just give the example to see how well it turns out.
I know. So... There's different ways you could solve this problem. If you get rid of your goddamn welfare state, the welfare state is like the One Ring. You know, it's like the fucking Lord of the Rings ring. And you have to throw that shit into Mount Doom. Don't try to be like, but white people need... No, stop. Stop it. Throw the ring into the fire. Just let it go. Let it go, Frodo. Just let it go. You have to let the ring die. Let the welfare state die.
Throw it in yourself, or we're going to throw you in with it while it's still in your hand. Either way, we've got to get rid of it, even if it's at your expense.
Well, they're not. Well, Japan was the one country that I truly thought, if any country could actually... Because remember when the Fukushima reactors went critical and guys were walking in to, like, They basically were killing themselves. They were going in knowing they would die of lethal radiation poisoning to save Japan. And then when there were like pallets of water, instead of taking all the water, people were only taking what they needed to save water for their neighbors. So the Japanese are very ethnocentric, very pro-Japan. They have a sense of community, which is, it's everything people say would fix America. And yet here you have the Japanese welfare state going bankrupt because women are empowered and won't have kids. And they're taught like, oh, we have to save the women. What about the poor women? They're not going to get their benefits. And now they're turning to expanded immigration. And it's like, Japan, you were the chosen one. You were supposed to defeat the Sith, not join them.
So, well, U.S. kind of screwed them over by making them empower their women. But kind of ironic, actually, considering they really did a whole lot of damage and horror to China and paved China the way for communism because they beat a lot of the nationalists there. And now come full circle, they're going to end up going extinct soon because they empowerment women, while China would not because they did not legally empower their women. Kind of ironic.
It is ironic. Now so right now, the immigration.
And just to point out, from my own experience with my two ex-girlfriends and some smaller, shorter dating experience, Asian women are not any different. They're not any more precious or valuable or more better personality. It's all just the same, depending on what society or system they live in.
Of course, there are no good women. There are no Nawalts. There are women who live in patriarchal cultures, and there's women who don't. If you take one of these women out of their patriarchal culture into a gynocentric culture, she will immediately become like a feminist, because that's women's biological imperative. They're not like, don't look for a good woman, just take women's rights away, and then women will become good women. It's so easy. But here you have Japan, and this.
But you know what? Though, you could say the same thing about men. Is that either they will become patriarchal or they'll become cucks. So it's not saying like if you just do this, X will happen. It's the same thing the other way around.
Well, that's true. Well, I guess there's a point to be made. Like it really comes down to their values. So for these guys, and frankly, the conclusion I've reached is that war is simply necessary. Like, humans evolved to fight war. That's why men produce so much more sperm. They're not meant to, like, live in these peaceful societies with one woman. They're supposed to kill each other. They're supposed to take their wives as war brides and rape slaves. They're supposed to impregnate all of them. That's the way human history's worked for generations. Because what you have is these weak men who, under any other era of time, would be dead. They would have been used up in some war. They're the majority. And here's what's fucked up. They can't win. There is no scenario where they win. They're just trying to create like the least shitty system. So they're creating like their welfare. They're empowering their women under the belief that, because here's the thing, they're ugly and they're poor. They can't win. So they think that, well, if I treat her right, she'll choose me. Because if I go with like being, having high status or a lot of money, I have neither of those things. So then those guys are going to get all the women. But if I enforce things like monogamy, if I empower women to choose a good man, but it's all projection. And what they've learned, well, hopefully what they've learned, but I don't think some of them have learned, when you empower women, they don't look for a good man. Like, I talked to a guy about this before. His hypothesis was if we had UBI, if we had our fucking freedom dividend, whatever the fuck you want to call it, if everyone got free money from the government, women would no longer look for a man based on his resources. But he's right, they won't. But his mistake was he thought women would look for a man who was a good companion, a good father, to help her raise her children. Nope. We know what actually happens. Women just go on welfare and become single mothers. They don't find good men to help them raise their kids. They all fuck the same drug dealers. They all have the same bastard kids. And they all just sit on welfare as single mothers. And the men are just SOL. And then the men, they fight each other and kill each other to become the alpha drug dealer who fucks all the women. So come
on, look at the meme look at the caveman meme, right? Where the guy bops the woman on the head and then drags her away by the hair because now she's his property, right? She wasn't smiling at him or anything like that. I mean, as I said, men have to be patriarchal to demand patriarchy. It's the same thing. It's just the shoe on the other foot.
Well, but what I'm saying is people they'll try to do what's in their perceived best interests. And if you are weak and you're not going to win the dominance game, you're going to try to, because humans are intelligent, unlike other animals. Most animals aren't smart enough to try to rewrite the rules of their society. So if you're like in a chimp troop and you're not the alpha, like you're lower on the dominance hierarchy, you're probably not going to reproduce. But you'll be alive. The troop will take care of you, but you're going to have to kind of accept your lower status. You're going to have to give up on things like that. And chimps realize, well, it's either this or dying in the wilderness by myself. So, not being able to reproduce is the price I'm willing to pay for belonging to this troop. And that's the way humans evolved. But now humans are clever enough now to devise institutions to try to rewrite the rules to give them more of a crack at the women. But what they don't understand is evolution. You're not smarter than evolution. And look, it's not fair. It's not fair that you lost a genetic lottery. It's not fair that you're ugly and low status and all these problems with you and women don't want to fuck you. It's not your fault. I'm not assigning blame. It's just what it is. But when you try to rewrite the rules, to try to be like, oh, it doesn't work. That's not how human nature works. When you empower women, they don't choose the nice men. They choose nobody. They'd rather be single mothers than choose a nice man. And if you doubt me, just look at every fucking example there is.
I can't believe you have to actually say that, though. Look at the single motherhood rate. Obviously, they would rather be single mothers than deal with a nice, cute, wholesome guy.
But what it is,
that's going to treat them well and pat them on their head.
But it's projection. It's
right?
Projection. So a man wants a woman. What a man wants in a woman is for her to be helpful and kind and friendly, someone who's going to be there for him and support him, make him feel better. And that's what a man wants in a woman. So they project that onto women. Like, well, I'll be a helpful, kind, friendly guy because that's what I want in a woman. It says men and women are the same. That's what she wants in a man, obviously. Then we could be equal partners and we can support and love each other. And that's not how reality works. Women and men aren't equal. They're not the same. And women don't like that in men. They find that disgusting. Best case scenario, you're her gay buddy. That you're her friend zone gay buddy that she takes on shopping trips to hold her bags. That's what you get. That's your reward. And then other guys this was amazing. So these guys will be fucking the girl that you have eyes for right in front of you, and they're showing you what makes her pussy wet. They're ignoring her. They're treating her like shit. They're focusing on themselves. And her fucking panties are dropping and she's jumping on their dick. And the whole time, you're not saying shit. Maybe I should pull the fucking, my head out of my own ass and I should stop giving a shit. I should stop acting like this and I should start doing what actually works. They're like, oh, those guys are mistreating her. We should pass a law. We should make that rape. And then finally Susie's gonna touch my pee-pee. And it's like, again, you can't rewrite the rules. So I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, and honestly, here's what's fucked. Well, I'm not fucked up. Look, if we had patriarchy, if you were born shitty, like you had bad genes, at the very least, you could work hard. And because without a welfare system, if you have money, the only way a woman can get your money is by actually staying with you and raising your family together and like living with you and stuff like that. She can't just take your money and leave with it. So at the very least, you have a shot. If you work hard enough, you could attract a gold digger. That's your best bet. But this whole idea of feminism and empowering, being a cuck, it doesn't get you anywhere. Where it gets you is like that. We talked about Cucktron a few weeks ago, where like 4 ugly guys are sharing one fat Josh from Drake and Josh as a woman. And it's fucking pathetic. Fucking pathetic.
Oh, poor Josh. Forever remember on this show as compared to that
because ugly. She looked like him. She looked like him. She totally looked like Drake and Josh.
But Josh deserves better.
He does deserve better.